Asteroids destroy Earth, leaving the last human on the moon. In the cold vacuum of space, far away from the remnants of the world that once teemed with life, a lone figure stood. His breath, although inaudible in the emptiness of the moon's surface, rattled his chest as he glanced back at the Earth, now a glowing ball of devastation. The blue planet, the cradle of humanity, had been obliterated by a series of catastrophic asteroid impacts that had left the surface scorched and uninhabitable. Yet there he stood, Captain Elias Durant, the last known human survivor, standing on the lunar surface, staring at the dead Earth below. It had all happened so fast. What the world thought were harmless space debris turned out to be something much more ominous. A deep space asteroid field, once thought to be millions of years away from crossing the Earth's orbit, unexpectedly veered off course, pushed by an unknown cosmic force. In a matter of months, astronomers had tracked its deadly path, but by then, it was too late. A global panic ensued as the first large asteroid struck the Earth, followed by several more in rapid succession. Each impact sent tremors through the planet, shaking cities, toppling governments, and triggering tsunamis and earthquakes that ravaged entire continents. The first hit devastated Asia. A colossal asteroid, the size of a city, collided with the Earth in what was an apocalyptic explosion of fire and debris. Within hours, major cities like Beijing, Tokyo, and New Delhi were reduced to rubble. The oceans rose higher than anyone could have predicted, swallowing up coastal cities and flooding the land. In the chaos that followed, it became evident that the damage was far more than physical. The Earth's delicate ecosystems began to collapse, crops failed, animals perished, and a thick cloud of dust and soot covered the skies, blocking out the sun for months. Global temperatures plummeted, ushering in what many called the long winter, a time of darkness and freezing cold that would kill off much of the planet's remaining life. Elias, a trained astronaut and captain of the lunar base, had watched the Earth's slow destruction from the relative safety of his station on the moon. A small crew had been stationed there to conduct research and mining operations, but in the chaos of the asteroid storm, communication with Earth had been severed. His crew, along with all other space-based missions, had become stranded in orbit, unable to return. Then came the second, larger asteroid. It struck the eastern half of North America, followed by others that pelted Europe and Africa. The Earth trembled as if in agony, groaning under the weight of the relentless impacts. Elias' mission had always been one of exploration, of understanding the moon and preparing for humanity's future in space. He'd never imagined he would be called upon for something like this. But as Earth's final days unfolded in the void of space, humanity's last hope came not from a government, but from a single, solitary astronaut standing alone on the moon. The communications hub on the moon remained intact longer than anyone anticipated. Elias had managed to send out a final, desperate message to any remaining survivors. It was his last attempt to reach anyone anywhere. But the message, filled with hope and sorrow, never received a reply. The survivors on the moon had dwindled over time. In the chaos following the first asteroid impact, several crew members were lost. Some perished when the life support systems malfunctioned due to a meteor storm that had struck the lunar station. Others were claimed by the shrinking supplies as Earth's destruction triggered a wave of communication breakdowns between space agencies. The food was meant to last, but the system was never designed to handle such a prolonged isolation. Now, Elias found himself the last of his kind, a solitary survivor trapped on the barren lunar surface, the once vibrant Earth now a distant, unrecognizable silhouette in the sky. Loneliness had become his closest companion. He spoke to the stars often, hoping that somehow, somewhere, there was another human being who had managed to survive, a sliver of hope that hadn't completely been extinguished. But the longer Elias lingered in solitude, the more he realized the bitter truth. Earth was no more. The human race had all but vanished, and the world he had known was forever gone. Elias had considered leaving the moon, to fly out into space in search of something, anything, to cling to, but he had no fuel to make that journey. He had no choice but to remain on the moon, conducting his research as best as he could, documenting the history of humanity's fall, knowing that no one would ever read it. At night, when the sun set and the dark side of the moon took over, Elias would sit in the small observation bay, staring at the stars. He wondered what the stars thought of Earth's demise. Perhaps they were indifferent, mere pinpricks of light in a cosmic sea, their existence far removed from the fleeting lives of humans. Or perhaps they were silently mourning, burning brightly as a tribute to the species that had once called their planet home. It didn't matter. Nothing mattered now. Days turned into weeks, then into months. Elias lost track of time. The moon's surface, once a place of wonder, became his tomb. The vast expanse of gray dust and rock that surrounded him seemed to mock his existence, offering no solace, no answers. The Earth's once beautiful blue oceans and swirling clouds were now a distant memory. In its place was a barren orb, cracked and lifeless. Occasionally, he would catch glimpses of what remained of humanity's monuments, those strange structures built by his ancestors in the hope of lasting forever. The pyramids, the Great Wall, the Eiffel Tower. Now, even these iconic remnants were nothing more than shadows in the dust. But even in his isolation, Elias continued his work. He sent regular reports back to Earth, though they went unanswered. He cataloged the effects of the asteroid impacts, hoping to contribute some sort of knowledge for any future generations that might emerge from the stars. His purpose had shifted. Now it was about survival, about ensuring that humanity's story wasn't completely erased. Elias knew that, as the last human, it was his duty to preserve what had come before, even if no one would ever hear it. As the months stretched into years, a thought gnawed at Elias' mind. Was humanity's legacy doomed to be forgotten, just like the countless civilizations that came before it? The thought brought him to tears, though in the vacuum of space, there was no one left to see. One day, standing in front of the observation window, Elias saw the Earth, a familiar silhouette against the black of space. The flashes from asteroid impacts had ceased long ago. What was left was an empty, desolate orb. It no longer looked like home. But Elias, in his final moments, believed in one thing. Humanity might be gone, but the stars, they would still remain. And somewhere out there, far beyond the wreckage of Earth, there might still be a chance for a new beginning.